Hey, this is Steve Scarlacci, and today I want to talk to you guys about how I get a great clean tone, or what I think is a great clean tone. So, in this video, I don't plan on copying somebody else's sound. This is what I use personally when I'm trying to sound like me. So, when I'm on the road with Jessica Lynn, or if I'm playing a gig, this is the clean sound that I would like to have, and this is how I go about getting it. And this is not something that's limited to gear. Really, all you need is a clean amp, like any type of Fender amp is great, and then really a clean boost pedal is what's going to get you to that spot, and we're going to talk about that. But I'm on the road right now, so I'm using all digital stuff, so you'll be hearing my Helix, my Line 6 Helix, but this holds true if I'm using my Princeton Reverb at home, or any tube amp that you guys might have. You put a clean boost in front of it and you're going to see a really cool result. So I wanted to make this video to really show you guys that you don't need a compressor to get a great clean sound. I was on a live stream with the amazing Eric Broadbent, and we had a whole discussion about, Line 6 Helix 2.8 and using the power cab and stuff, and the topic of clean sounds came up. And I guess being the resident country player of the group, I'm the only one of all people that doesn't use a compressor for my clean sounds. When I'm trying to sound like me, when I'm trying to support an artist, or if I'm in a session or something, I'm not using a compressor for my clean sound. And the rest of the guys in the panel were kind of like, how do you not use a compressor for your clean sound? Well, it's because I really don't use a clean sound. And what I mean by that is that my sound is not crystalline, super clean, and that's the way I like it. If I'm asked for a certain sound, or I'm trying to get a certain sound or copy another guitar player that used a compressor, yes, I'll use a compressor. But when I'm trying to sound like me, my clean sound does not involve compression. And that includes for chicken picking stuff, blues, rock, country, doesn't matter what it is. I don't use I don't use a compressor when I'm playing any of the original music that I do. So my regular clean sound is this Grammatico sound. This is based on, I guess, like a Fender E circuit. So this is a really clean amp model. So really nice, sparkly, clean sound. And I like a sparkly, clean sound, but it's really not as usable in my opinion. So to take this to the next level, I always try to keep my amps, and you guys might have heard this term before, on the edge of breakup. And what the edge of breakup means is that if I hit it hard, it's going to almost give me an overdrive distortion sound. But I'll never be playing that hard. But that's how I kind of find that sweet spot, is that I will actually hit hard, and then I'll lighten up. And obviously now, if I touch my controls at all, I bring my volume down to the slightest little bit. I get that nice, sparkly, clean sound. So I always try to find that spot on the amp where it's about to break up, and then just dial it back a little bit. So if I can get to here, I hear that's a little distorted. But honestly, something weird that happens, and I don't totally understand this, but I know what it sounds like. I'll have tones like this at home that in my headphones, in my studio monitors, sounds distorted and broken up like that, but then in the context of a band, or in the context of a mix, it reads as a clean sound and it doesn't sound distorted anymore. So something like this, you might say, oh, that's got a little bit of distortion on it, but within the context of a band, you're not going to hear any type of distortion. That will sound totally clean. But anyway, that's the bass. So that's where I start. And then from there, I hit it with a clean boost. In this case, I have this Heir Apparent, which is a Prince of Tone or King of Tone model within the Helix. I have it set to the boost mode, which is just as clean as it can be. I have the gain set low and a little bit of volume. So here's what this sounds like. So you can hear how that kind of just like wakes up the input of the amp. And this is the same thing for a real tube amp at home, because what gives you this great sound, in my opinion, is having that front end of the amp hit hard with the clean boost. So the harder the preamp section of the amp works, the more compressed it becomes. Therefore, you will not need a compressor. And if I'm trying to sound like somebody, I will use a compressor, but for the most part, when I'm trying to sound like me and I'm trying to be, you know, a sideman in a project, or if I'm playing in the studio, I avoid compressors unless it's asked for or if it's for a specific sound. If I'm looking for just a straight ahead clean sound, this is what I go with. And it's really great for anything like R&B stuff. So you can see how a lot of the time it sounds really clean. And I like this over a compressor because it allows me to be a little bit more dynamic. The compressor squashing your signal, I think, it doesn't do anything for your dynamics. It actually inhibits it. It's kind of the whole point. But I like that I could go like, and play the same leg and get a little bit more of a hair on it and a little bit more of a breakup. So something definitely worth noting is that my guitar is going to sound a lot different from your guitar. So if you download this preset, the Grammatico DIA preset that I have on Custom Tone, you will not get the same results. This is something that you need to experiment on your own with, and really all you need to do is just mess with the drive settings. So this will also be an example of how to get this to be super crystalline clean. So there's my bass sound, but if I go to here and I dial out some of the drive, so you mess with the drives with your pickup setup and your channel volume, master volume, mess with those four, and you'll be able to find that sweet spot for you. So I want to show you also what it sounds like with a pristine clean sound. So I have my drives all the way down here. So this is like super, super clean, kind of, to me, not the greatest sound. If I had this sound and used a compressor, it would sound pretty good, but I want to show you with my method using this clean boost what it sounds like instead. So again, here's this clean, and here it is with that clean boost. Here how it like comes to life and really wakes it up. Without. With. And I can even bring this gain up a little more. So this is something that you could do if you have a super clean amp at home that you can't dial up enough you can't get enough volume out of without killing somebody. You can also use the same method, just give it a little bit more gain, a little bit more juice, and really get that front end of the amp working so that you can get that really nice clean sound. And if you guys have questions about this, please feel free, shoot them down below as we go. But I'll just play a little bit more for you guys. So here it is again without the clean boost. This is just the clean amp. Now I'll kick the clean boost back on. So it still remains delicate, it's touch sensitive, it sounds great in my opinion, and it works for really cool leads. Like, I would call this like a John Mayer-ish type of thing, where he likes to live on that edge of breakup sound where he's getting compression from his amp. So again, just really cool, clean sound. It's just like, I could play with this sound all day. If I'm trying to practice or mess around with stuff, this is the sound that I go for. This is just, to me, this is what it's all about. And using a real amp at home, like I said, you could do the same exact thing. Just hit it hard with that clean boost. Like an RC booster is what I use at home from Exotic Effects. I turn the gain up to about noon, and I turn the volume up just a slight little bit, so that this is really all the difference in volume. Just enough to wake up that input and really, what is it? Yeah, just wake up that input of the amp. Hits it hard, starts to compress, and you just get this perfect in-between dirty and in-between clean breakup sound. And I can play the same lick a little lighter. carried away noodling on this for hours. But yeah, again, I'll summarize again what I'm going for here. I have my real amp sound, which is just not a sterile clean, but with some amps you might get stuck with a sterile clean sound. Like if you're using a deluxe in a small coffee shop situation, you won't be able to get it turned up appropriately, which is really where having that clean boost comes in handy. It basically allows you to get a higher wattage amp into this edge of breakup territory. Luckily, with the digital modeling that we have today, I'm a Helix guy. I love using my Helix. I could just dial this into the amp alone without even having a pedal, and I don't have to worry about blowing any of my bandmates away or killing the audience with volume. But I still, even with this little edge of breakup on the amp, I still have this clean boost in front of it. To me, there's just no better sound than that. It could be any clean amp and any clean boost in front. As long as you're hitting that front end hard, you'll be getting this really, really nice sound. And you can still get sustain out of it. People get worried and they say that you need a compressor for sustain, and you need a compressor for this, and you need a compressor for that. I'm not an advocate of that anymore. I used to love compression. I have compressors. I love my Wampler Ego Comp. But I find that when I'm trying to sound like me, this is what works best. So I hope this video helps you guys out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask out. If you guys like the video, please check out some of my other ones and consider subscribing. And I appreciate all your support either way. So thank you guys so much for watching.